Hey guys, Dan Williams here at Range of Motion. Just wanted to touch today on how we can create some sort of fat loss or weight loss using passive energy expenditure. So if you look at the consumption of energy as you would an income, you can have an active income and a passive income. An active income is earning a certain amount of money per hour from your job, or maybe you're on a salary per year. There's a set amount that you know that you can earn. Whereas a passive income, on the other hand, is maybe you have an investment property and you receive rent from tenants there. Or you have shares and you earn dividends off those shares. Although you've had to work for the investment property or to purchase the shares in the first place, once you have this, you're able to generate then a passive income. Energy expenditure can work in the same way. So obviously you have active energy expenditure. As you're exercising, as you're moving around, or even just as you're functioning, you are expending energy just to keep yourself alive or to fuel that exercise. But you also have a couple of ways in which we can create a passive energy expenditure. And that's what I'd like to touch on today. So the first way that we can start to create this is called EPOC, which is excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. And basically this just means that when you finish exercising, your body continues to work at a higher metabolic rate for a little bit longer. So your body is consuming a little bit more energy than your resting or basal metabolic rate would be. Now, if you're doing some sort of slow or low intensity steady state exercise for an extended period of time, what the research tells us is that you can get about 30 minutes of this EPOC. So 30 minutes of this free extra energy expenditure. Now this is good. And remember, during this exercise, you're actually burning a decent amount of energy. So if you're doing a 30-minute run, for example, you're burning quite a high degree of energy during that run. And then over the next 30 minutes, it tapers off and returns to your basal or resting metabolic rate. Now, what most of the recent research is telling us is that if you do high intensity training, either interval training or just a single bout of very high intensity exercise, you can actually get an EPOC which extends not just for 30 minutes post exercise, but for 38 hours. So you can get 38 hours of extra energy expenditure just by pushing up the intensity. Now, of course, the intensity and the duration of exercise are inversely correlated. So as the volume or duration increases, intensity has to drop. So this is great because it's not only a very efficient way to burn a lot of energy for an extended period of time, but it's also a great way to do that with extremely little outlay in terms of time. So if we look at that 38 hours, if you were to do 3 bouts of extremely high intensity exercise per week, that 38 hours gives us just under 120 hours, which is almost your full week. So for example, from 3 5-minute bouts of super high intensity exercise per week, you can be operating at a higher resting metabolic rate that whole time. That truly is a passive energy expenditure. I talked about a second way that we can start to get this passive energy expenditure, and this is by increasing the amount of metabolically active tissue in your body. So any tissue which is metabolically active is tissue that takes energy just to keep it alive. Now this doesn't mean that you're having to use this tissue, it's just your body working to keep it alive and to keep it there. And one of the main metabolically active tissues that we can control is how much muscle we have. This is what's called a metabolically active tissue. Again, a tissue that takes energy just to keep it alive. In fact, for every kilogram of muscle in your body, over 12 months, you're having to burn the equivalent of 6 kilograms worth of fat just to keep that tissue alive. So that's not even to use it. It's not to try and create and contract that muscle, it's just to keep it there in your body. So if I was to give you 3 kilograms of extra muscle, in the space of 12 months, you're burning the equivalent of 18 kilograms worth of fat. Again, it's a form of passive energy expenditure. So when you're putting together an exercise program or you're undertaking an exercise program and your aim is to try and improve your body composition, a really great way to do this is to make sure that you're exercising at high intensity to increase that EPOC, and also you're doing a style of exercise which is going to increase how much lean muscle you have. Using these two ways will allow you to get a passive energy expenditure as well as the active energy expenditure that you get at the time from the exercise itself. This is one of the modules that we'll be covering in our upcoming Fitness Industry Professional Development Day. I will post the link to that below. If you have any questions, please post them and I'm happy to answer. Thanks, guys.